Good afternoon. I forgot it even went on then. Welcome, happy Thursday. Welcome to our usual live 15 minutes. I'll give you some advice on your health and well-being. And today we're talking about the quick fixes and why they're not always a good option. As always, if you are joining or listening on the replay, drop in your thoughts, comments, and questions. Obviously, let us know that you like this stuff, whether there's something else you want, and of course, obviously, give me your feedback. Hopefully today there's going to be no cameras dropping off like there was on Tuesday. That was a bit of fun. And as you can see, I've still got a bit of a cold, so do bear with me if you can't quite hear me. But of course, I want to hear from you. Let's know how you're doing, okay? So, as I said, we are talking about why you want to avoid. So let me just check we're streaming. Yeah, all good. We're all good. So watching out for quick fixes. So what do we mean by a quick fix? Okay, so, good afternoon, Zoe. So, guys, exactly like Zoe's doing. Join, comment, question, support. Let's get together, okay? It's a fantastic time to connect, even just for a few moments, all right? So, what do I mean by quick fixes? Well, quick fixes are like anything. It's like having something fall off the wall. Instead of nailing it back up and giving it a permanent fix, you put tape up and hold it up, okay? You know it's only going to last a certain period of time, okay? Now, what does that mean when it comes down to our well-being? Well, particularly in weight management, that's kind of the big one because people look for diet pills or they'll go on fad diets or extreme regimes, okay? Now, the one thing I'm not telling you is the fact these things don't work because they do, okay? There is studies, these things do work. Now, I'm not telling you to go and do them. And there's a reason for that. Because when you go and do something that is extreme and intense on the body, one, you push for the results. But then let's look at a 6-week boot camp, for example. What happens afterwards? So we're focused on this 6 weeks. We've got the structure. We're putting the extra effort in. We're really committed to it. But then you find you're giving up all your free time to do those workouts, focus on the diet. You've got a really strict eating regime. And it gets you the result in 6 weeks. But then what happens is you go back to a sort of normal routine or normal eating pattern. And of course, you actually fall back. Okay. Now, when we fall back with weight, we don't fall back to where we were. 9 times out of 10, you probably gain a little bit extra as well. So what will happen is you go, okay, done this great regime. I've got the weight off I want. And then I go. And then over time, I said it's a slow process. It doesn't happen just overnight. Over time, maybe 12 months, maybe 2 years, maybe just be 3 months. You'll see yourself creep up, all right? So you go back to where you were, and then all of a sudden you go, oh shit, I'm gained more weight. But 2 years ago, or whenever it was, I did this boot camp and I looked great and I felt great. Okay, so right, hopefully. Right, Barbara, jumping in. Rick, jumping in. And Zoe's spot on. Fail of the plan. That's the thing. A lot of the time, we focus on what we can do and get the short term. Like, how many times has your car broken down? And you've gone, I just need to get going. If I get going, I can get home. Okay? And then how many times we get home and then we go, it's okay, I can wait to call the garage because you got to go home. Or I'll go tomorrow to get the new tyre. I'll put the temp on. It's good for a day or two. We do these things because we can there's a level of getting away with this. We have to wait to get our cars fixed. We have to wait for results. And the problem is now we get very impatient. So if you're here, you're impatient, raise your hands up. I get impatient. I certainly do. To be fair, I very rarely do I order a takeaway. But when I'm cooking something, my pasta's pretty much always al dente for a reason. Because I'm so fed up of waiting for it to cook that I'm hungry. I want to eat it. Impatience. Okay. Now, quick fixes. Okay. So, like I say, it's that sort of plaster over a problem. Okay. So it will hold it together. It may get you the results you want. But what about the long term? What about what's going to happen if you have children? That's for the ladies. Or maybe men as well. Your life changes. Say, for example, you have children and your lifestyle changes. What's going to happen? Are you going to be able to go back and do the same regime? You're not. You've got something else taking your time. So what you really need to be doing is looking at something that's much more sustainable. So when we talk about sustainability, it's what about what we can do consistently. Okay, so now when we look at like I said, I mentioned about fad diets because that's sort of a big one. Okay, now I don't know about you, but there's a couple that really grind my gears. Here, any Family Guy fans out there? Right, grind my gears. Okay, maybe just me. But what happens is oh my God, I just lost my train. Tell my head's just not with it. My thought, I've not had this on the phone earlier. When we look at fad diets, the ones that grind my gears, yeah, okay. So Weight Watchers, I kind of go, yeah, okay. I'm not too much a fan, but these things happen, right? But the Cambridge diet, I'm sorry, I will be open by it. This is my least favorite. Okay. All I'm going to say to you, you can be on it for a maximum of 12 weeks. You need medical support and you need to be checked up. And you need to have, obviously, checkups along the way. You also can get problems with your teeth, your breath, your hair. So this is a diet that's making you lose weight, but it's giving you bad breath. And seriously, how is that good for you? Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that one. All right. So if you want to do more research into it, that's fine. If you want to have another conversation, we can have a conversation. But the Cambridge diet is pretty much my least favorite. And if there's someone listening that obviously supports it, that's your choice. My choice is healthy. And if something is going to have an impact on my health in other ways, then of course I'm obviously going to not go favorably. All right. This is my job. This is my life. What I give you is what I live by. Now, when I say this as well, because I put about surgical fixes, okay? Now, I'm not saying that a surgical fix is never the answer, okay? You're talking to somebody who's obviously had no surgery last year and all sorts, okay? I'm not saying it's not the answer, but if that is your only solution, then you've got a big problem, okay? Because what happens is, and I'll give you a story of a friend of mine, okay? She had body dysmorphia. They put her in for counselling. Okay, the reason that is she hated her belly. She used to wear really big baggy t-shirts, hated like a belly, her hips, wanted to lose weight. Really not a big woman at all. But the way she saw herself wasn't right. Of course, they put her in for counselling, and of course, the last protocol was to have like a tummy tuck and tied up her stomach and that. Now, the problem with that is most people then go, okay, I'm having this problem fixed. I'm getting this done, or lipo, that's one of the solutions. But they don't think about the mental side, okay? It's not like a light switch. You suddenly have it done and switch on, and then everything that you felt before is suddenly gone. All the feelings that you've had, say if it is, I feel fat and overweight, I've got excess skin, I'm not liking my body. You've been building these feelings up for a long time. All right. It's like if you did a diet or anything, a surgical fix isn't just suddenly going to be that light switch moment. You then got to do the work. All right. And this is kind of my big thing about this because I get quite excited here. This is where you need to allow yourself the time to actually mentally go, actually, I need to really fall in love with myself. You need to really then connect back with yourself. Okay, so if anyone can connect with what I'm saying, or maybe if you own a story you want to share, obviously drop in thoughts and comments. I've got a new podcast, Wellness Well Day. If you want to get involved with that, I'd love to hear your stories. But what we are talking about here is when, like with my friend, she went and had this surgery thinking it would fix. To be fair, she had obviously a few problems with the healing, wasn't as smooth as she wanted. But I can tell you now, I had no surgery last summer. I can tell you it was weeks. When they say like at least 3 months before you feel normal, it was at least 6 before I felt normal. Okay. And the reason I say that wasn't because I couldn't now breathe. I was like, okay, this is great. I can breathe again. That's what they were doing I broke my nose ski and they would fix my deviated septum. Now, they allowed me to breathe, but what I didn't think about was then every single time I leaned forwards, eventually getting all this pressure into my head, okay? And when I say about 3 months, 3 months I started feeling like kind of normal. And then it was like 6 months before I kind of didn't notice it, okay? Now, straight off, literally, obviously swollen, puffy, you know, the droopy face. If you see the photos, I've got like chipmunk cheeks. It's kind of cute. I was like, yeah, I look very pretty. I wasn't worried about in the bruising. I actually apologized for not wearing my face mask, even though I was like swollen and bruised and all this sort of stuff, and people could see obviously why I wasn't. And then, of course, obviously seeing the results very quickly. Like I say, as soon as the sort of things came off, I was like, okay, this is cool. But the feelings that you have, it wasn't about how it looked. It was like, okay, I can't breathe through my nose properly because it's all healing inside. All right. I couldn't do anything. That I could walk. I could do things gently. But I was also really paranoid by my face. I was like so scared somebody was going to bump into me and I wasn't going to feel relaxed. And then I remember when I started doing some of my yoga poses, my arm balances, I got so afraid. I'm still a little terrified of face planting. Okay. You know what times I used to face plant? All the time. Okay. It was kind of like my favorite thing. Okay. But when we think about having a surgical response, we always think, okay, this is going to fix. Like we think, okay, I'm just going to do a boot camp. This is going to fix it. Or if I just do this diet for a few weeks, this will fix my problem. Okay. A quick fix will or can get you the results. Okay. But it doesn't get your head in the right space. You've got to do that work. Okay. So last 3 minutes, guys. Quick hello to Andrea and Rick. And obviously, you've had some surgery. It's not fun at all. It isn't. Okay. And people don't always tell you. They talk to you about scars and they talk to you about bruising and, you know, taking it light. But the biggest impact is in your mind. Okay. And from people I've spoken to, when we've really dug into this, is actually the mind that comes out. Okay. Now, when we say that, okay, your body's going to heal. Okay. You need to eat right. You need to keep the body moving to obviously flush out water retention, all this sort of stuff. You need to obviously do the things that your body needs to heal and recover. But when we talk about getting back into it, like getting back to work, okay, one of my things I like to do is a jigsaw. So, of course, can you imagine it? I'm with a jigsaw on my table trying to lean forwards doing this. Of course, literally after about half an hour to an hour, I've got to go lie down. And it made me so sleepy that I just felt completely dozy. And I spent more time sleeping after that surgery than anything else. Okay. It was actually kind of nice. But after a while, I just got so fed up. I was like, my back hurts so much. I'm so done with being on my bum. I need to move. And that's why I was trying to do my jigsaws, but obviously I couldn't because I couldn't sit. Okay, so if you have stayed tuning, guys, obviously I'm just going to give you a bit of value about what you can do instead. Okay, if you choose to have a surgical response, whether it is like mine, a broken nose, or whether it is like lipo, and you think, okay, fine, before you have it done or before you jump into it, firstly, do your research. Okay, so that's not just on surgical responses for anything, that's also your diets. Like I said, Cambridge has some big question marks, and they might have red flags that you wouldn't do. But if you're going to take Weight Watchers, Slimming World, even if you want to say you want to hire me as a coach or someone else, okay, do your research first. Okay, find out a bit about what you're getting into or what you're signing up for. Okay, remember, it doesn't matter whether it's a surgeon, it's a coach, or it's someone who's running a meetup group. Make sure that's someone you can talk to. Okay, make sure they've got the suitable background. You don't want somebody who's literally just walked off the street and gone, I got a bit of paper that says I'm qualified. I tell you what, there was some out there. But make sure, do your research, okay? Before whatever you do, it's going to work for you. Second thing is, work on you first, okay? Remember, there are things that you can do, but start asking yourself some questions. Okay, what do I really want? Okay, what's making me not feel good about myself? And is this something I need help with? Okay, because remember, you could go and do a healthy eating diet plan or exercise regime. You could do it on your own, but there's a difference between having a coach and having someone else, or like I said, a surgeon and someone else. Okay, so obviously making sure you're going to do the right thing. All right, Then, I've just seen the comments, I'll get to those in a second. And of course, then lastly is make sure you have support, okay? So the fact is, whatever, it might be your partner, okay? But the last thing you want, I say partner in general, friend, family, coach, whatever, whichever, anybody, okay? But the last thing you want to be doing is going, I'm going to eat really well. And you're living with someone that goes, oh, I'm eating really well, who eats nothing but big fat plate of chips with a big fat piece of whatever and all this, okay? Now, you can eat all that, but if your husband's eating that and he's like a 6'4" guy and he's having this big plate full, and then just go, why are you not eating it? That's not really support, is it? So make sure you have the right support. You need people, they don't have to eat and do it with you, but they have to support you and allow you the space to do what you need to do. So don't feel pressured. Anyway, guys, I have gone on a little bit here. So obviously, remember, Andrea, so I'm glad that you can sort of connect with this. And of course, I'm feeling a lot of love coming in. Rick, thank you. Andrea. And of course, Catherine, yes, have a plan. So, yeah, can you tell I've helped a few people here? All right, guys. So this is the thing. This is proof in the pudding. So when I say do your research, make sure there are people. I'm very open. The guys who want to speak to them, if you want to speak to me, fine. But otherwise, whatever you choose to do your research first. Make sure it's going to work. And then be prepared to do the work. Make sure you do the work on you first, and then the work you're going to have to do afterwards. Don't worry, it's going to take you 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 years. Remember, it took you time to be in this position, so it's going to take you time to get out of it. And if you take that time, here's the pincher, you will sustain the results much easier. Your body and mind will not resist the change as much. So guys, I've run over by 2 minutes. I'm really sorry. So hopefully you found that good. Like I say, there'll be a quick video coming out very, very shortly with the winners from my little book competition. Otherwise, have a great day.